Very good morning to all. In this lecture, we are going to cover the last topic from unit number 2, that is the concept of time lag. Then how the breakdown mechanism is occur in case of electronegative gases. And in the last, we are going to discuss what are the applications of gaseous medium in case of power system. So the first topic is time lag. Now, as we know that the process of breakdown is initiated due to the mechanism of ionization, and we know that in order to have a breakdown mechanism for any material, it may be say gas, liquid or say solid, basically we required to provide some input energy, and if the value of that input energy is more than ionization potential, definitely the breakdown mechanism is initiated. So in case of electrical domain, what will happen? The amount of input electrical energy we are providing by connecting a pair of electrode to a very high voltage source. It may be AC or it may be say DC. And practically we thought that as soon as the value of applied voltage is more than breakdown voltage, which is nothing but a voltage which is required to initiate the process of breakdown mechanism for that material, the breakdown phenomena occur. But to be very specific, this process will initiate over a specific duration of time. That means even though the value of applied voltage is more than the breakdown voltage of that medium, very instantly the breakdown mechanism does not initiate. It will initiate but after a specific duration of time. That time delay is known as time lag. कहने का मतलब ये है कि अगर मान लो आपको गैशियस मीडियम का ब्रेकडाउन वोल्टेज स्टडी करना है, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम आइडियल केसेस में लेंगे एट नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर एंड प्रेशर, इफ द पेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोड आर एट अ डिस्टेंस ऑफ 1 centimeter apart from each other, and in that case the breakdown voltage of gaseous medium is around 33 kV per centimeter. That means if you maintain the potential difference between those two electrode at a value of 33 kV, to be very specific, breakdown mechanism has to be initiated. But practically ऐसा होता नहीं है. It will initiate after a specific duration of time. That time delay is known as time lag. So the same thing is mentioned over here. Now this figure indicates the variation of breakdown voltage, which is indicated by symbol Vd with respect to time small t for a specific distance between two electrode. Let that distance is small d. Now in this figure, this portion indicates small t. This indicates the maximum value of voltage which is required to initiate the process of breakdown, and Vd1 indicate the peak value of step voltage which is applied across a pair of electrode. Now from this figure it is very clear that as the magnitude of Vd1 is more than Vd, the breakdown mechanism must initiate very instantly, but practically it will initiate after a time delay of small t. So this time delay of small t is known as time lag. And from this diagram we also conclude that the time delay, or you can say the time lag, has two main components. First one is called as Ts, which is called as statistical time lag or statistical time delay, and second one is TF, which is known as formative time delay. So the same thing is mentioned over here. As the magnitude of Vd1 is more than Vd, then in that case the breakdown mechanism has to be initiated very instantly, but practically it was found that the breakdown mechanism initiate after a specific time duration, which is indicated by small t over here. That time delay is called as time lag. Now as I told you that the total time lag indicated by symbol small t has two different components. First one is called as statistical time lag indicated by symbol t suffix s, and second one is called as formative time lag indicated by symbol t suffix small f. Now let us discuss one by one what is the actual meaning of statistical time lag and what is the actual meaning of formative time lag. So statistical time lag is defined as the time elapses during the voltage application until a primary electron appear to initiate the process of discharge mechanism. कहने का मतलब यह है कि जिस मूवमेंट पे आपने आपका अप्लाइड वोल्टेज का मैग्नीट्यूड ब्रेकडाउन वोल्टेज के ऊपर ले गए, तो क्या होगा कि इनिशियली जो भी इनपुट एनर्जी आप प्रोवाइड करोगे, that energy is utilized to form free electron just to initiate the process of breakdown. तो अप्लाइड वोल्टेज देने के बाद कितने समय में फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इनिशिएट हो गए फॉर द प्रोसेस ऑफ ब्रेकडाउन मैकेनिज्म, that time duration is known as statistical time lag. Similarly, let us discuss the concept of formative time lag. It is defined as the time required for the breakdown to develop once it is initiated. That means एक बार आपका जो free electrons है वो initiate हो गए via process of ionization, then what will happen? These electrons will responsible for the formation of a pair of positive ion followed by one more free electron, and the process keeps on repeat by its own. So that time delay is known as formative time lag. Now there are various factors which decide or which influence the magnitude of statistical time lag, such as number one, it depends upon the amount of pre-ionization present in between the gases. कहने का मतलब यह है कि जो TS का मैग्नीट्यूड डिपेंड करेगा कि इनिशियली कितने नंबर ऑफ फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स वो गैशियस मीडियम में अवेलेबल थे. जितने ज़्यादा फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स अवेलेबल रहेंगे उतने कम टाइम में आपका जो ब्रेकडाउन मैकेनिज्म है वो इनिशिएट होगा. तो मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि जैसे जैसे आपके फ्री आयनाइजेशंस का नंबर बढ़ेगा आपका स्टैटिस्टिकल टाइम लैग का मैग्नीट्यूड जो है वो क्या होगा, कम हो जाएगा. Second parameter which influence the magnitude of statistical time lag is distance between the two electrode, indicated by symbol small d. Thumb rule is that जितना ज़्यादा distance रहेगा उतना ज़्यादा time लगेगा to initiate the process of breakdown. And the last parameter which decide the value of statistical time lag is the difference between the applied voltage and the actual breakdown voltage of that medium. So from this it is concluded that if the magnitude of VD1 is much high as compared to VD, that means if the magnitude of applied voltage is very high as compared to the breakdown voltage of that medium, the time delay to initiate the process of breakdown mechanism reduces. In the same way, there are some factors which also influence the magnitude of formative time lag, such as it depends upon the transit time of positive ion when it is traveled from anode surface to cathode surface. As we know that this time lag is defined as a time taken by a breakdown mechanism to make that particular process initiated by its own, and this is possible only when the secondary number of electrons are emitted from the surface of cathode as an output, and this is possible via different type of mechanism. It may possible that when a positive ion going to collide with the surface of cathode, they are responsible for the formation of free electrons as an output. So basically it depends upon the time taken by a positive ion to travel the path from anode surface to cathode surface. Apart from this, the magnitude of formative time lag is also depends upon the non-uniformity of electric field. It also depends upon the magnitude difference between VD1 and VD. The second topic which we are going to cover in this lecture is breakdown mechanism in case of electronegative gases. Now what is electronegative? Electronegativity is the property, or you can say the ability of gaseous molecule to absorb free electron, which results into the formation of what? Negative ion. Sometimes this property is also known as electron affinity property of that gaseous material, or you can say gaseous medium. Now because of this property, SF6 gas is going to act as an excellent insulating media. Now in case of SF6 gas, what will happen? Whenever a free electron collide with a neutral gas molecule, the electron is absorbed by a neutral gas molecule, which results into the formation of what? Negative ion. This process can be mathematically defined in two different ways, like this. So when a free electron is going to collide with SF6 gas molecule, it results into the formation of what? Free negative ion. Now what will happen if you compare the weight of negative ion with respect to a free moving electron? The weight is much higher as compared to free electron, and because of that reason they will not initiate the process of breakdown so rapidly. So in this way, because of this electronegative property of that gaseous medium, we are in a position to stop the breakdown of entire gaseous medium. Apart from this, SF6 gas also have a unique property of fast recombination. This property is definitely going to help SF6 gas to use for arc quenching mechanism in case of circuit breaker. Now if you compare the strength, or you can say the dielectric strength of SF6 gas with respect to air, at normal temperature and pressure, the dielectric strength of SF6 gas is almost 2 to 3 times the dielectric strength of air. And practically it was found that at 2 atmospheric pressure, the dielectric strength of SF6 gas is almost equal to the strength of transformer oil. But there is one major disadvantage associated with SF6 gas, is that at normal temperature and pressure, the nature of SF6 gas is vapor. But as the pressure increases, and if it is go beyond 14 kg per centimeter square, then in that case the nature of gas will change from vapor to liquid. So we need to be very careful while using SF6 gas as an insulating material in case of electrical equipment. Now the last topic which we are going to cover in this lecture is application of gases in power system. So gases are mainly used in power system to provide insulation for various equipment and substations. Apart from this, they are also used in circuit breaker for arc interruption mechanism and provide the insulation between the breaker contacts. There are various types of gases which are commonly used as an insulating media in case of power system, such as air, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, electronegative gases like sulfur hexafluoride. Now what are the properties of gas to be used as an insulating media, or they are going to be used for arc interruption purpose in case of power system? So the properties are, first is they must have high dielectric strength. If they have high dielectric strength, definitely they will have better insulating property to avoid a flow of current through it. Second is they must have thermal and chemical stability. Third thing is they must be non-inflammable in nature. They do not catch fire while they are operation. They must have high thermal conductivity. They must have good arc extinguishing ability. And the last point is commercially available at moderate cost. That means they are easily available in a local market at minimum cost. Thank you.